Right. The Quran is a text which is intimately connected with the Bible, and part of my argument in the book, which is titled simply "The Quran and the Bible," is that these are books which for centuries have been kept apart, but they can be fruitfully read together. So they should be next to each other on one shelf. Whether you're a Jew, a Christian, a Muslim, or maybe an atheist, it's still fruitful to read these two texts together. And many of the great protagonists that we know from the biblical tradition, including from the beginning Adam, Noah, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and Mary, whom we've spoken about, are found also in the Quran. And many of the stories or narratives related to these characters, such as the story of Adam and Eve in the garden. The story of Adam is repeated in 7 different surahs in the Quran, so there's great interest in the figure of Adam. But that's an interesting example, because if we just focus for a moment on the character of Adam, the story of the prohibition of approaching a tree is found in the Quran. The role of Satan in leading Adam astray is found in the Quran. But there's a difference there, because in the Bible, actually, when you read Genesis, we notice that it's not actually Satan there, it's just a serpent or a snake. In Christian tradition, beginning with the book of Revelation, that serpent is identified with Satan. And in the Quran, it's simply said that it was Satan. The serpent disappears, Satan takes his place. So it's a good example of how there's commonality and difference. There's one other anecdote which is an important thing to note about the relationship, or the literary relationship between the Quran and the Bible, having to do with Adam, namely that the Quran is very interested in a story according to which God commands the angels to bow down before Adam. This is something we don't find in the book of Genesis, but we do find in early Christian literature. Now, in early Christian literature, it's a story which sort of anticipates the angelic worship of Christ. So the angels worshipped Adam before his fall, as they would worship Christ. In the Quran, it seems to be a story just about the importance of obedience or submission to God. But again, this is interesting because it shows us the Quran is not just engaging with the canonical Bible, the Old Testament and New Testament as Christians know it, but is also engaging with those traditions that spread among Jews and Christians in the centuries between the writing of the Bible and the proclamation of the Quran.